Hello and welcome back to the Pet Business Wellbeing Podcast with me, Nathan Dunleavy. This is the podcast where we talk about the realities of running a pet business, the highs, the challenges, and most importantly, how to look after your well-being whilst you do it. Because running a business should support your life, not consume it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited to bring you another episode today. We have another great guest speaker. It's Claire Harris from Pets to Places. Welcome to the podcast, Claire. How are you doing?
Hi, Nathan. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, that's great. You're most welcome. I'm excited to chat with you. So thank you for your time. So to kick us off, for those viewers or listeners who may not know you yet, please could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So my name's Claire Harris. I am the founder of Pets to Places Limited, which is the world's first pet taxi franchise. Super exciting. I started in 2014, many moons ago. It was just me, but now we're building a network of franchisees across the UK. And we're also moving into pet transport products. So exciting times.
Exciting times. So we're going to be talking all about that, the business, the franchising and the products as well. And obviously this podcast is all about the person behind the business, particularly about season 2. I love hearing about people's journeys and history because often we all fall into the pet industry for whatever reason. So I'd love to start with you, Claire, the person behind Pet to Places.
Yeah.
How did your journey into the pet industry first begin, please?
So actually, it was random how I got started. So funnily enough, I used to be a franchisee of a business, and I joined in 2012. In June of 2012, I joined a franchise, which was like a home help PA sort of business for the elderly.
Oh, okay.
Mostly it was elderly customers. It was essentially a cleaning franchise, but trying to focus on the elderly. It didn't go well at all, unfortunately. So that was in June 2012. But in August 2012, I was widowed. So my entire world just completely fell apart.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. Oh, bless you.
I tried to carry on, and I'd like to say I was the hero of that piece, but I was not. I absolutely fell apart and did not cope well at all with life.
Not surprised.
And ended up trying to run a business whilst also trying to juggle my own personal journey with 3 children. So my children at the time were 10, 11 and 14, and trying to just navigate that. And I didn't have any help and support from anybody at all.
Bless you.
Trying to navigate that time of my life was really like rock bottom. When you're in a very deep, dark hole and there's no way out, I've been there. So respect to anybody who digs themselves out of a dark hole. So then the franchisors of that business, actually, because I was obviously not in any fit state to run a business, I was reaching out to them. I was asking for their help and support. There was zero help and support. There was nothing. They actually bullied me until I had a nervous breakdown at the end of 2013. And I basically just handed back the business and went, you know what, my mental health is worth more than the money. So I lost about £40,000.
My
You
word.
really cannot price on your own
No, you
mental health.
can't. No, definitely not.
It was really a kick in the stomach to lose that much money. At the end of the day, you only get one shot at life. So you either put yourself first or you're going to be in a grave. For me, I just had to take that step back and go, do you know what? I just accept that I've lost this money. I believe in karma, so they'll get theirs. And I just had to take that time out and just look after number one. So I took 6 months out and I was like, what am I doing? Ironically, started a business as I'm not going to use the word psychic because I hate that word, but so I went down the route of a holistic and spiritual business, and it was everything from leg waxing to card reading to cleansing people's houses. But I also started the pet taxi at the same time so this was in 2014, and somebody I know works at the vets as a receptionist, and they said, oh, we're always getting people calling up and saying they need to get their pets to the vet. Like, why don't you do that? You're good with people and you love animals, so why don't you just do that? And I was like, oh yeah, I might as well. That's literally how Pets to Places started. Originally called Pets to Vet. So for about a year or so, I run both businesses alongside each other. But the pet taxi just expanded without me even trying. It just grew and grew. And I was finding I was doing card readings for people who were like, it's the guy in my office. Am I going to meet the man of my dreams over the water cooler? And I was like, really? Is this what my skill set is about? I don't think so. And I think life just naturally pulls you in the direction that you're supposed to go. So I think what's meant for you is put in front of you at the right times, kind of sacked off that business and then carried on with the pet taxi. And when I first started in 2014, even though I'd actually run a business, I didn't have a clue how to run a business, hence why I joined a franchise, although there was no help and support whatsoever. So I didn't have a clue. So when I was running my business for at least the first 3 years, I was just bobbing along, making it up, not really having a clue what I was doing. Do you know there's no accounts that exist for the first year of my business because I didn't actually know. If you were earning under the threshold, you have to still do a tax return. Who knew? So I basically learned everything along the way, and while still going through that grief, because you don't just get over it as people think you do with grief, it takes a really long time to fix yourself and, you know, put yourself in the right mental position. And I'd say that's taken me the best part of a decade to do that. But running the business at the time, and when you're in that dark place, you feel like you're the only person in that deep, dark place, and you're the only person who's ever gone through something so traumatic. And I think then running the taxi and listening to the customers and people just naturally open up to me and talk to me. And I think listening to the customers and listening to their journeys and listening to all the terrible things that happen to them, it really helped me to feel so much less alone. And that's how I found my purpose. And it's like, God, I'm not the only person who's going through such a hard time. Like, lots of people have been through equally as hard times and tough times in life. And I think that human connection, which is what we're absolutely missing in today's modern society, I definitely think that human connection and people just really talking to each other openly and honestly and rawly, I think that's what society needs, right? So for me, it really helped me just reconnect with society. It really helped me just reconnect with people and realize I'm not the only person who's going through something really bad. Lots of people go through really bad things, and it's not what you go through in life. It's the person you become afterwards. And you can be that bitter, twisted victim mentality person, and you can sit at home and boohoo to yourself, or you can just pick yourself back up and make something of yourself. And everybody has a choice which way they go. And my choice was like, do you know what? I'm not going to let this one moment in time define who I am for the next 40, 50 years or however long I'm on this earth. So I think it gave me a purpose. I guess it just gave me a reason to get out of bed every day, other than the children, because they were at school all day. So what was I doing with my life? And I think the younger generation, there's a lot more career focus for younger people than there were for people. I'm in my 40s, so wasn't really as much. And I'm from a working class family, so there really wasn't much career direction when I was growing up. So I think for me, it was about really just finding my purpose and finding my place in the world, and just felt amazing, and the customers were awesome. They were like, oh, you're such a godsend, you're such an angel, where would I be without you? And who doesn't want to hear that when they're at work? Rather than the boss breathing down their neck, berating them. So it's just awesome. Like, the whole service is just, it's not really, it's called a pet taxi, but it's not. It's really a customer experience, and it's about being a part of a community. And I think that's what I needed. As much as the customers needed me, I needed them. So yeah, it's been a really hard journey. I've had to learn everything the hard way and got mugged off by so many people who are claiming they've got the next business. I can grow your business, and I've just been ripped off by so many people who claim they can do this, that, and the other, and they're just lying. They're just, so now I'm a completely different person to when I first started the business 14 years ago. Yeah, no, it was 12 years ago. Sorry, math's not my strong point.
Mine neither. Wow, what a story.
Yeah,
And you don't know what you don't know as well.
exactly.
You're kind of learning along the way, and you expect to be able to have the support of, like you say, the franchise owners and things like that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned offline as well that obviously you have learned things like the hard way.
Yeah.
So I guess that is, you know, dealing with like the loss of your partner, raising young children, the franchise business going sort of tits up initially.
Yeah.
And obviously you were getting bullied, that, you know, awful. So like, how did you just kind of keep going? Like all those different experiences that were happening.
I guess you've got two choices in life, haven't you? You either pick yourself up and keep going, or you just lay in bed and don't.
Yeah.
And I guess the children obviously had to get up every day and they had to get ready for school and stuff. So, and I guess my younger two have got additional needs, so they need a lot of help and support and stuff as well. So I think by the very nature of life, you just don't have a choice but to carry on, do you? I'd love to have said, yeah, I could have just stayed in bed for 6 months, but unfortunately that just wasn't an option because you still got bills to pay, you still got kids to get to school. Life doesn't stop just because you're going through something traumatic. And that is the sad reality when you go through something really traumatic, because your world might have ended and stopped at that point, but the world didn't. The world carried on going. And I think that for me was quite hard to grasp when I was in so much unbelievable pain. I felt like I was drowning every second that I was awake. That I think you just have to keep going just because you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Basically, you don't have a choice but to keep going.
Yeah.
And I think everybody copes with their trauma and what they go through in life. Everybody's different. There's no right or wrong. And when I was widowed, I was like, oh God, I feel like I should be crying more, or I should feel like I should be more depressed, or you feel like I'm almost too not happy. And somebody told a joke and I laughed, and then I felt really guilty about it. And it's all these weird emotions that you go through that you think, oh, I shouldn't. But who's saying who should and shouldn't? Who's saying what grief should look like, or whatever it is that you've been through in your life that was traumatic for you? Who is saying how you should and shouldn't cope with that? Who is saying what you should and shouldn't do? Because there's no rule book when we go through traumatic things in life. We just literally do the best that we can with what we've got in the situation. And are we great people at the time? Then maybe not. Are we making the right choices? Maybe not. But you can only deal with what you can at that point with the tools that you also have at that point in your life. Because our generation, my generation, I don't know how old you are, but in your 40s, my generation, we weren't given the correct tools to cope with life and the stresses of life. And I think today, in today's more modern world, we've got lots more tools and ways of like healthy coping mechanisms, ways of coping with life and trauma and stress and dealing with childhood trauma and all that stuff. And I just think, had I have known all the coping strategies now, like back then, I probably would have coped a lot better for the first 2 years. But sadly, I did not. But like I say, not what you go through, but who you become.
Yeah, I'm in my early 40s, so I do know what you mean and I can relate. But it is like traumatic and tragic. And and the saying goes like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or the song, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So fair play for you just to keep going, basically. I'd love to rewind just slightly as well. And like, before you set up that first franchise business, it seems to me that you've always sort of had a business hat on, even though you may, like you say, may not have known as much like about the tax return at the start. But like, running a business isn't for everyone, because if it was, everyone would do it. And it's bloody hard work.
Yeah.
Like, it's relentless and you're wearing lots of different hats and you work long hours, but it's one of the most rewarding things in the world, and there's so much benefits that come with it. But what made you decide to kind of go into the business and run a business in, rather than your bulk standard being employed and getting a normal job?
So I think for me, I'm glad to say I'm actually very good at accounts now. I'm very good at bookkeeping. I learned along the way. I think for me, because the children were quite young at the time, and my younger two, like I said, have got additional needs, and I was their sole carer, I was constantly at the school. My youngest, I was constantly at the school with him and constantly in hospital appointments and stuff like that. So I think for me, it was more out of necessity rather than I actually had any burning desire to want to be self-employed or run my own business. I think it was more like, who is going to employ me when I'm constantly being called to the school? I'm constantly having hospital appointments and stuff. I actually feel like murdering anybody if they look at me the wrong way. So I just wasn't in the right mindset to actually work with, just because the general public and pet people, they're two different types of people. And pet people are wonderful, but the general public, not so much. And my daughter worked in Tesco's in the clothing department, or between the ages of 16 and 18. Some of the stories she used to tell me, I'd be like, it's a good job Mama Bear wasn't there. So I think For me, it was just, I didn't really have a choice, to be honest. It was like, who is going to employ me when I'm constantly running up to the school every 5 minutes? And what boss is going to be understanding of that? And so for me, it was just about the flexibility of being able to choose my own hours. If I needed to go to the school, or I needed to have a meeting with them, or I needed to get the kids to the hospital. I think when you're the sole parent, it's much harder than when you're in a two-parent family. And I still think society is actually built on this two-parent family mindset, which doesn't really work in today's modern world. But yeah, I guess that was the real driving force. Is it just what fitted in with my life at the time?
Yeah, I kind of like say I'm unemployable now.
Yeah, same. Absolutely.
My career was in corporate banking, so it was very much a corporate career with a big high street bank. So I was kind of spoilt. And then when I then started working for these other companies, which I kind of deemed some of them cowboy companies in inverted commas,
Yeah.
like it was like, what the hell are they doing? Are they making this up as it goes along? And I just thought, God, I can't do this anymore. And I ended up setting up 2 businesses on the same day after being let go from my job. And yeah, because I was spoilt with my career at Barclays. And so, yeah, I now say that I'm unemployable because I've been in business 8 years this month. So yeah, it's funny. And I also wanted to just touch on where you said about where we are in the world now, where we are craving that human connection. Because I was listening to a podcast yesterday, because I listen to a lot of podcasts because I kind of do it for my own research as well. Obviously, the fact that I host 2 of my own, but they were saying about walking. And obviously, my main gig at the moment is as a dog walker. I do it 4 days a week. But with that, I'm out with dogs and I try to avoid humans because I just want to go somewhere quiet.
Headphones on, that's an instant, don't talk to me.
No, I just kind of like being out with the dogs, being out with nature. And like, it's just easier to avoid people because, well, there's issues that come with meeting other people and their dogs or whatever. But the lady on the podcast was just saying like we should walk more like with a human, because when you're out walking, it really starts to open up the conversation. And she said like she went for a walk with her daughter and it's not something she would normally do. And they were going to go for a 10-minute walk and they ended up going for like an hour or something. But her daughter opened up so much more on that walk and what was going on at school, life, what she was struggling with. Whereas at home, she'd have her head in an iPad or whatever, and the most she would get was a grunt out of her. But as soon as she got outside in nature and started walking, her daughter just opened up. So I just think like out walking as well with someone, and you just crave, you just crave that connection, just it makes you open up and stuff. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I completely agree with you. It's funny in this modern tech world how we're so connected, yet we've never been so disconnected from each other. And I think absolutely go back to basics. Instead of going out for a drink, so I think the younger generation, lots of people are turning away from alcohol. Instead of going out for a drink to the pub, go out for a walk. Instead of doing a movie night in, go out for a walk. Take your popcorn with you if you really want to. And I think it is that human touch, and that's what I love about what we do, what Pet Taxi represents, because in a modern world of AI and technology and the touch of a button, you can go on an app and you can do this, that and the other, but we've absolutely lost the human touch. We've absolutely lost the ability to speak to each other. And my service has been called old-fashioned a lot because it's like a step back in time to a time where I remember when I was a kid and I used to go into the local DIY store that was just in our local shops. And the guy there knew my mum and dad. He knew my nan. Every time I went in, he'd be like, oh, how's your mum and dad? How's your nan doing? And that's almost what we've created with our service is when we see our customers, because 75% of our business is repeat business. Wow. So you see the same people all the time. And we're like that. We're like, oh, how are the kids? Grown-up kids, because most of our customers are older. So we've still got that sort of really raw human connection. And we get to know our customers and we can have a chat with them. We can ask about their families, ask about their pets, and we'll just chat. You don't get into my taxi and expect to sit in silence, because let me tell you, you're not doing that. We're having a chat. We'll be friends by the time you leave. Because that's what it is. That's what the world needs. And I think there's so much investment and so much talk about AI and tech and, tech startups are getting all the money, AI is getting all the money. And actually, I think what we really need to do is take a step back in time and bring back that human touch, bring back those real conversations. And that's what we do every single day in the taxi. I genuinely love what I do, which is why I don't want to give up the taxi, but I have to at the end of this year. So it's great. I love that. I think the human touch, and absolutely agree with you, being in nature is just good for the soul. And I think we've all got to that point where we need to protect our own mental health. We need to protect our own energy. I think we're done with Facebook drama and Karens. Sorry to anybody named Karen.
My mum's name.
But bless her. I think
But she's not like a Karen.
No, oh, I bet she's lovely. But we're done. We're done with that Facebook drama era, aren't we? And we're moving on to the next era of people protecting their energy, protecting their mindsets, protecting their space. And I think we only want to allow those people who are bringing positivity, great mindsets, great energy into our space. We're done with the drama, out with the drama, in with the positivity and great energy, right?
I love all that. You're very passionate as well, and it oozes. I love someone that's very passionate, and it's infectious, so it's great. Yes, and nature, they say, is the original therapist, so we're all about that. Well, I'd love to touch and go delve a little bit more into, obviously, the taxi and pet to places. So you mentioned about 75% being repeats. So what is your clientele? Like, is it like elderly people that don't drive or can't get their animals to vets? Is it people that don't drive? What does your clientele look like?
So mostly, yes, I would say a good solid 70% of our business, 70 to 80% of our business is older people over the age of 70. So they don't drive, or perhaps they did drive in their younger years, but they don't anymore. So most of our customers don't have their own vehicle, or they're perhaps like a one vehicle family and the vehicle's somewhere else. So yeah, most of our customers are older, but since COVID, we actually have seen a bit of a change in the business. So where before COVID, our business was, I would say, 95% older people. But since COVID, we've seen a really big change. So we've now got a lot of younger people, as young as like 17, 18 years old, who are using the service. And we're finding a lot of younger people with additional needs. So they need help and support at their appointment, whatever that looks like. Perhaps they've got social anxiety, they're either on the spectrum, or they just want that help and support. And you'd think that our younger generation would get in the car and just sit straight on their phone, but they don't. They want that chat. They want to have the chat with us. How many taxis do you get into where somebody actually speaks to you? But you definitely do in my taxi.
I mean, I love that there's the vast variety and it has changed. And I love that you're helping, like you say, the people with additional needs. But I bet with the elderly, just going back to them, they probably craving that communication, that connection, because they might be lonely. And they want...
Absolutely.
Yeah, that must be really nice.
Yeah, it is. And so that's really nice because sometimes we may be the only person that they've spoken to that day, or that for a few days. So that's really nice to be able to just have the chat with them, keep them company. I remember one cat, this was recently a few weeks ago. I took this cat who had some eye trauma and ended up having his eye removed. He'd lost the sight. I don't know what happened. I think they said he'd caught it on a bush and it got infected or something, but so I saw the owner over a 2-week time frame. I saw the owner like a lot because we had to keep going back to the vets just for checkups and everything. And on the sort of final clean bill of health tick, she went, "Oh, I'm going to really miss seeing you all the time and having we've loved our little chats together." And I was like, "Oh, that's just absolutely the sweetest. They're absolute sweethearts." I love the older generation. And as a child, I spent a lot of time with my nan because obviously I grew up in that generation where if you didn't have enough money, you got a second job. So I spent a lot of my childhood with my nan. So I love older people. I think they have so much to offer. And you've never got a problem you can't solve if you work with older people because you just ask them. They've got the answer because they've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So it's amazing working with older people because they actually help your life in the sense of, "Oh, this is the problem I'm having. What do you think?" And they'll go, "Oh, I've got a great solution."
I love,
I
love those. Yeah, I love those stories. Like there's always a story or three to tell. I'd love to now just talk about what the process is. And so, are you going with the owner and the pet, or are you just taking the pet?
So both. So some of our owners are housebound, so we just take the pet for them. And then some of our customers, they just need some additional support. And whatever that looks like for each individual customer, whether it's an arm to hold on to when they walk to the car, whether they need help getting a cat in a basket and carrying the cat. Why is it a cat basket and a cat? They're not that heavy, and you put them together and they're really heavy. So we can carry the cat basket for people. We can just whatever additional help people need, we're there to support with that. So it's a mixture of both.
Oh, I love that. So how do people sort of find you then? Is it sort of, are you collaborating with vets and groomers and like social media?
Yeah.
And how's the process work then if someone wanted to book you?
So mostly people find us from the same three ways. People will either Google us and find us just online. Wherever they're going, will recommend us. So like vets, groomers, kennels, that kind of thing, they'll recommend us. And that's through the connections we make within our local communities. Or just word of mouth. Old people still do that old school thing where they actually talk to each other in person like this. Yeah, so a lot of our business comes from just people just telling their friends about us and how awesome we are. And this week I had the most superb one, despite what I was just saying about AI. Somebody said, "Oh, I found you on ChatGPT. ChatGPT said you were like the best." I was like, awesome. So I Googled it. You can find that on LinkedIn. So I proudly put a post about it yesterday.
No,
AI something.
I love that AI is starting to bring through businesses in searches now. Yeah, that and recommending.
You can't always guarantee what ChatGPT is saying though, because it also recommended a couple of my competitors who I know are not using crash tested equipment. So they're saying that they're safe, and I'm like, ChatGPT, they're not.
Yeah, that's the thing. With AI, it does say it makes mistakes.
Yes, it does, definitely.
Definitely.
I can attest to that when I was in London and it told me to get off at the wrong tube station. And I was like, oh, got a double back one. Thanks, AI. Yeah, but that was cool. And I think that just shows the changing landscape in the way business is conducted and the way people find you as well, doesn't it? So,
yeah, brilliant.
But social media, obviously, our social media presence, people find us on social media,
Yeah,
like Facebook and Instagram.
yeah,
But most of my business still comes from the same three places today as what it always has, which is cool.
Yeah. So, franchising then, I'd love to hear a bit more about this. So what made you franchise the business? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously, even though you had your experience, you probably thought, right, I'm going to do it properly. So how did that all come about and what's going on? And tell us about the franchise side of stuff.
So when I first started in 2014, the business was actually called Pets to Vets because I just used to take animals to the vets. But it was the customers that were calling up and saying, "Oh, can you take me to the groomers or somewhere else?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool, can do that." Hence how we changed the name to Pets to Places. Now, as I was saying, the first 3 years of the business, I really wasn't taking it overly seriously because I was trying to mend myself as it was. But it was listening to the customers and they were saying, "Oh, my friend or family lives in such and such a place and they haven't got anything like this service there." And I was like, "Oh, do people who don't drive then get their pets where they need to go?" And so it was the customers that actually, number one, gave me the idea to change the name to be reflexive of all of the different services that we offer. And it was actually the customers that encouraged me to, or gave me the idea to actually franchise the business. Because obviously after my experience, I was super anti-franchise. I was like, "Oh, franchises are scammers and they're horrible and they only care about money." So I didn't even want to call it a franchise to start off with. I was like, let's call it a partnership because that sounds nicer.
Yeah.
It's a softer wording, isn't it? But apparently partnership and a franchise are two completely different things. So you're not actually allowed to do that. But then, so it is a franchise. I guess for losing my 40 grand, I learned how not to franchise. So my franchise model is completely different. We're super supportive. And we don't have a one-size-fits-all mentality, exactly like with our customers, whatever they need, that's what we offer. And that's what we do as a franchise. If people are dyslexic or they've got additional needs themselves or whatever extra help and support our franchises need, that's absolutely what they get. They only have to ask. We all learn in different ways. We're all individuals with different skill sets and come from different backgrounds. So whatever that looks like for each person, that's what we'll do. Yeah, it's awesome. We've just taken on a franchise recruitment consultant who's literally just started with us last week. So We're really going to be working on our franchise growth over the next year or two.
Exciting.
And our only requirement of a franchisee, as I was having this discussion with the consultant yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, who are you looking for?" And I was like, "I just want people who want to make a difference in the world, who want to make a difference in their community, and who want something meaningful. If you're really good at what you do, you'll just earn money as a byproduct of that, which is what we do. But I can't teach that. I can teach you because I've learned everything about how to run a business, everything from the ground up in 12 years. And I can teach that. I can teach that to anybody. But I can't teach you how to be a really good, kind-hearted, caring, compassionate person. It's either who you are or it isn't. And if it isn't, you're not for us. You're not for us. And that's okay because we're not for everybody and everybody is not for us. And that's just the way the world works. You can't be liked by everybody. But I can't teach that. So if you're at your core, you are a kind, caring person who loves pets and loves helping people and just wants to make a difference in the world, absolutely contact us.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it comes back to what you said about community. So you want people that are compassionate,
Yeah.
that want to create their own community. And again, it comes around to connection. So I guess kind of like the 3 C's
Absolutely.
really there that you want. That's the type of person you want. You either are that person or you're not.
Yeah, exactly. I can't teach that. I can't teach you to be a good person, although I can probably put you on the right path with some tools that I use.
Yeah.
Podcasts are a great start.
Yeah.
Free resource.
So how is it going then? Do you have a few franchisees now? Is that the right terminology?
Yes. So we've recruited 3 franchisees, but sadly one of them died. Only 52 of a heart attack. Life is too
Bloody
short.
hell.
That was very sudden. One day I was chatting to her, next day she was gone. But I actually went to her funeral and
Yes.
they even had a little bit in there when the person
eulogy.
gives a little talk about, yeah, that's it. I couldn't think of the word then.
That's all right.
They actually were saying how much, I was so touched because they were saying how much she absolutely loved her role with Pets to Places. She adored her role and how happy it made her. And I was like, even though it's obviously really sad that she's gone, and she was such a wonderful, kind-hearted, one of those beautiful soul people who are absolutely, the world is a darker place without her here. But to hear how happy it made her in her final couple of years of life to do something that she truly loved, because she'd never had the opportunity before. She'd always done jobs that fitted around her husband's work or children or running a house and being a mum and et cetera, et cetera. And it was the first time in her life she got to do something that was just for her. And then it was really heartbreaking that she died, but I'm so glad I could give her that opportunity that before she left this world, she got to do something that she absolutely loved and adored. So that is amazing to me because, franchising looks like I'm charging you money for something, but it's about giving people the opportunity and giving people the tools to do something for themselves. Because I was that franchisee in the previous business. I didn't have a clue how to run a business, hence why I joined a franchise. And I just didn't get any of the help and support that I needed. I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't get any help. So we absolutely are the complete opposite of that. This is about creating an opportunity for people so they can live the life that they want and they can have the life that they want. And you don't have to go to work and have a boss be really horrible to you every day when you can run your own business and be fully supported, and you get to be the person who you want to be. So our second franchisee, he's ex-forces, he's an alpha type of personality type, and he's had to live his whole life being this label that he's been assigned. And he just says he's always worked in a very male, he's obviously ex-forces, so he's done 10 years. And then he worked in the motorbike industry, which is another very sort of alpha, toxic masculinity type of environment where he's had to be this person that it's almost like creating a character of yourself, isn't it? And he said since he's joined Pets to Places, so he's been here 2.5 years now, and he's like, I just love it because I actually get to be myself. There's no airs and graces. There's no putting on this work version of yourself. You just get to be your true authentic self. And that's the opportunity that I've created. And I love that we've done that. I love that I'm giving people the opportunity to run their own business, be their true and authentic self, and have that human touch every day. Because in the modern world of just the way the world is today, you just get to always step, like I was saying earlier, you always get to just step back in time, be who you truly are, and lead with kindness and caring and compassion. And if that's who you truly are and it aligns with you, then you're just you when you're at work. I think we all create versions of ourselves in different situations, don't we? Whereas we don't do that in our world. We're just us and that's it. So we've only got a couple of franchisees so far. Our next lady's in the Bedford area, and she's never really had the opportunity to do something for herself, always wanted to run her own business, never had the opportunity to do that. And she's just loving it. She's absolutely loving it. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We're just looking for people who want that opportunity to take charge of their life and go, do you know what? I'm doing something for me and I'm putting myself first.
Oh, I love that. And there's obviously differences with franchisee and licensing, isn't there? So I guess it depends on what works for the individual in the business, and for people to look into that as well.
Yeah. Franchising is like owning your own business. So you buy the opportunity to run the service in your own area. So you're your own business, but you're fully supported. So you're not on your own, but you are in charge of your own business. So you run it exactly like you would run your own business anyway. You've got to wear all the hats. So like we were saying earlier, you've got to do all the marketing and accounts and everything like that, and actually run the service as well. But you're fully supported to do that. You're never alone in a franchise. There's always somebody there to help and support you. And if you don't know the answer to something like accounts and bookkeeping, there's someone who will help you and train you and sit with you and basically hold your hand to how to do that, so that you can become the best version of yourself and the best version of your business self that you can be.
Yeah. I guess the only difference then to stop like someone just doing it themselves, like setting up a similar business, is that they get all the help and support from someone that's done it and it's been established, like warts and all, and the business model you've created, because you know that it works and it can be replicated in a different area.
Exactly. And obviously, since we've become so successful, oh God, we've got every man and his dog copying us, but they don't know what I know because they haven't been in the industry for 12 years.
Yeah.
So it's all those little sprinkles of magic. We're not just running a service, it's about our customers' experience with us. And it's those little sprinkles of magic that make us stand out from the crowd. And the fact that I've been in this business for 12 years means that you can absolutely copy my business model, but that doesn't mean you're going to succeed, because I know a lot more than most.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you could set up a burger restaurant, couldn't you? Or you could join McDonald's, because it's a proven business model that's already successful. And that's the difference. When you join a proven business model, you get all of the tools to get it right from day one. All of the tools that took me over a decade to learn, I'm handing it to you on a plate. You could set up by yourself. Absolutely. You could set up by yourself, but you don't have the tools to be successful.
Yeah, I love that.
Even if you've run a business before, because it's different businesses, it's different industries. And this is a kind of a newish industry. So yeah, I can give people the tools, or they can waste thousands. Like our first franchisee said, you could waste thousands and thousands of pounds working out how to get it right and what works and what doesn't work. Or you can invest that money into a franchise and get it right from day one.
I love that. And obviously, like with some of my mentees as well, and particularly with dog professionals, like dog trainers and groomers or whoever, like pet professionals, like they do struggle with imposter syndrome, and they're like, oh God, there's another dog walker set up down the road, or a dog trainer that's offering secret, that's my next point, offering classes. But I basically say to them, well, they are not you. You are your secret sauce. You are your secret power. So they can copy and mimic it, but they aren't you. They can never copy you.
Exactly. And I think as well, through what I've done, just running my service, I've accidentally become the country's leading expert on pet transport. And, I know a lot about transport and pets, like a lot. And so those people that do copy us, they don't do it as well as I do, because they don't know what I know.
Yeah.
So we've just had, our guy in Pontefract had 4 people copy him since he started. That happens a lot in our world. People always copy what we're doing. But the thing is, if you're copying somebody, you're always 1 step behind, 2 steps behind. And never, ever, you can eat our dust. It's fine. That's cool. We'll carry on. We'll crack on with what we're doing. We don't worry about what the competition's doing, because is anybody really the competition? Because you're you and nobody else can be you. Therefore, you don't have any competition.
Yeah.
Depends on how you look at it.
What is it they say? Isn't it imitation is flattering or something? There's a saying about imitation or whatever. I don't know.
I think, yeah, it's like the greatest form of flattery. I
Yeah.
actually personally find it really irritating when people copy us because they do it really badly as well. And I'm
Y-
like, oh, you've blatantly seen that you've ripped off my business model, but you're doing it really badly. So
Yeah.
yeah, we just stand alone. We do what we do. We're great at what we do. And people copy us. That's
Yeah.
just the nature of the beast, isn't it? You can't do anything about people that copy. You can't do anything about competition. So do you know what? You've got to be the better person. You do what they don't do. If they're out there on social media doing this, do something else. So do something else. So go and have a stand at an event. Go and do something else. Do something that they're not doing because that's how you stand up from the crowd.
Just let.
Hence why we started creating products.
Well, that's what that leads nicely on. I was just going to say as well, just stay in your own lane. Just do
Yeah.
you. Right. Before we start wrapping up, I'd love to just touch on about that. Yeah, you're now branching out into products. So what's this all about?
Yes. So as I was just saying, I think I've learned so much about pet transport in the last 12 years, and it's actually shocking how the rules and regulations on transporting pets are not worth the paper they've written on. Everybody quotes the same thing. Rule 57 of the Highway Code, pets must be restricted. Honestly, that is not worth the paper it's written on. It is so vague and just like, okay, I'm going to take off my tie and restrain my dog. It's still restrained. But is that safe? No, because what people don't realize is if you're not restraining your dog or your cat's not restrained correctly, your animal could become a projectile in the event of an accident. And that's where most pet transporters or people who transport as a byproduct of their pet business, like dog walkers and boarders and stuff, what you don't realize is if you're not using crash tested equipment, if you're in a car accident, your dog could kill you. And the dog would obviously die as well. So I see so many people using these wire folding crates or these really cheap things, these headrest restraints. Oh, God, put those in the bin. Or these really cheap things that you could buy on Amazon. And they're just not fit for purpose. Honestly, there's such a lack of education out there. So my role isn't just to create products that are crash tested, that are user friendly, that are affordable. Because obviously there's crash tested equipment on the market right now. And in the taxi, we use the best of what's currently available. But there's still flaws, and it's design flaws based on the fact product designer or an engineer has created those products without my 12 years of experience of actually transporting pets hands-on. That's where I've got a unique insight and why I'm the best person to create products, because I actually know what I'm talking about. I've been doing it for 12 years. I could tell you many stories about the transporting pets, but the overall end mission is that we're not just creating products, we're actually creating the educational content so that people understand why we're saying transport your pets in this way, because it's safer, it protects the pet, it protects the people in the vehicle. And ultimately, I'm hoping for a change in the law on how pets are transported, which aligns with children in car seats.
Oh yeah, yeah, the booster seats and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Children have to be in a car seat. It has to be adhered to a certain standard. And that's what I'm aiming for with pets. You have to restrain them in this certain way, and you have to use a certain equipment, and it has to adhere to a certain standard. It might take me a very long time to change the law, but we'll get there in the end. Rome wasn't built in a day. And I won't give up because I'm so passionate about pet transport that it's just, I think it's so important for people to listen. And hey, I'm not saying you've got to buy my products, buy them, don't buy them, but at least listen to my education, listen to what I'm saying. So we're just in the process of trying to gain some funding. We'll be launching a website with a whole load of educational content. And I'm, just really pushing that education out there and also creating a product alongside. So it gives people the choice. If they want to buy the products, great. And if not, then that's okay too.
And that's what it all comes down to, is the education. Again, we don't know what we don't know. And it's so important for dog guardians and pet parents to, to have the resources and to help for people like us to help with education. But what I was going to say is, when I see cars or vans driving along, the bloody dogs' heads hanging out the window, it makes me literally have a heart attack. I'm thinking, what the hell? Like, all of a sudden, this could end in disaster. And it's really irresponsible, because what about the other people in the car in front or behind? Because you've got your bloody dog hanging out the window. It annoys me.
Yes, and absolutely. So number one, dogs with heads out of windows is my absolute pet hate, pun intended. Because number one, a dog with their head out of the window can actually get dirt and debris in their eyes and their ears. So
I didn't
instantly
even think of that.
you're risking the dog's well-being. If the dog actually jumped out of the window, you are actually risking other cars causing accidents, because if a dog jumped out of a window, you'd swerve, wouldn't you? That would be the natural reaction of most normal people, would swerve to avoid, which then could lead on to other accidents. And this is why I think a change in the law is so important, because it isn't just about, restrain your dog. This is about the well-being of the people in the car, the well-being of people in the other cars, and preventing accidents. So as part of our trying to gain some funding, we were doing a pitch. I can't remember who it was to, but we were doing a pitch. So we were creating some videos. We were looking for some videos to really support what we were saying. We went onto YouTube and typed in dog jumping out of a car window. If you go onto YouTube, other platforms are available, you will see some shocking sights of dogs jumping out of windows, car windows, and it's insane that this really happens. Some of them were in America, but I'm starting in the UK, but I'm planning on taking this worldwide, because the whole world just has such a lack of education around how to transport pets, and it's such an important subject. And even though I wasn't even alive at the time, the Click campaign, if those of us who are old enough to remember that, I wasn't alive when it was around, but I do know that because it was such an important, powerful message. Click with every trip to make people put their seatbelt on, because before seatbelts were legal, people obviously didn't put a seatbelt on, but that saved millions of lives worldwide, if not more. But yeah, so that's basically what we're aiming for. And we have, if people want to get involved, Pet Travel Safety Day is on the 1st of July. Join in with our social media content. We'll be sharing tons of content around how to safely transport pets. So the 1st of July, actually the point where 1st of July 1991 was when it became law for everybody in a vehicle to wear a seatbelt to protect people's lives, as I just said. Previously, it was only law in the front seat, but then I changed it so it was everybody in a vehicle, including in the back seat. So that's what I'm doing. It's like a Click campaign, but for pets, and that's trademarked, so we're not allowed to use that term.
Just tell us again. So it's the Pet Travel Safety Day, is it? 1st of July.
That's it, on the 10th of July. Yep. So go onto our social media, share our content. Just get involved. However, just even sharing our content would be absolutely amazing. Just spreads the word about what we do and the mission that we're on. And
Brilliant.
Just makes everybody think about how to transport their pets safely. And please don't put cat bars on seats and strap them in with seatbelts, because that's a big no-no.
And what is the what is the product that you're doing at the moment, or you're trying to make?
So right now we are on, so I've spent the last 2 years learning everything pet product related. So obviously I've been in a pet service industry, so moving into a product, didn't know anything about products. We've now partnered with a great product realization company, as well as Cranfield Crash Test Centre and the National Transport Design Centre in Coventry. But our very first product is going to be a collar harness designed for the back seat for dogs between 5 kilograms and 15 kilograms. That's our very first product launch, but it will be very subject to funding. Will be closely followed by products for every single pet in every single scenario, because that's the biggest gap in the market. Is different companies sell different things, but there's such a limit of sizes, and they're not thinking about breeds, and they're not thinking about fur length and stuff. If you've got a Pomeranian, you know what I'm talking about. So our full range is going to be about 20 to 30 products, and with complementary products that go alongside those as well. So yes, that is going to take us a couple of years. So it's going to take us 2 to 3 years to have our full range, but we are really I'm hoping for a December launch for our first product, but I think in reality, it's probably going to be very early 2027. Our very first product, car harness, will be launched. So watch this space, follow us on social media, and join in.
Brilliant. Right, Claire, if there's one message you'd love pet professionals listening today to take away from your journey, especially those that are maybe in the messy middle of building a business, doubting themselves, or feeling like they're learning everything the hard way, what would you like them to hear?
I think the best lessons are learned the hard way, aren't they? I have learned every lesson I've learned the hard way. And do you know what? It's harsh at the time, but it's who you are. It's then the person you become. Those hard lessons that we go through in life teach us more than any of our quick wins, because that's where the true learning is. When you learn a lesson the hard way, you learn everything about it and you don't make that mistake again. I know it seems hard, and when you're in the thick of it and you're trudging along, you're trying to grow your business, and then someone's copying you and doing whatever, just rise above it. Just keep going. Just keep, you do you. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. And if it's hard right now, that's okay, because life is hard. I think we're somehow taught that life is not hard, but I think if we started out in life expecting it to be hard, we probably wouldn't be so traumatized when it's not. I think just keep going. Just do you, stay in your lane, focus on what you're really good at, focus on you and what makes your business great. Don't worry about anybody else. And if it's hard, that's okay. It's only hard for right now. In a month's time or 2 months' time, you never know where you're going to be. And if you don't put in the hard work right now, you're definitely not going to get there. So you've got to go through the hard times to get to the good times, because the last 12 years of my business has been incredibly hard. And people see my success and they're like, oh, wow, you're so successful. And I'm like, where were you like 10 years ago when I first started and I had one customer a week or something? Do you know what I mean? It's always hard at the beginning, and it's always, and however long you think it's going to take to build it, your business, times that by about 4, because that's a reality. I had somebody contact me a few weeks ago going, oh, I've been in business 3 weeks and I haven't gained any customers. I'm like, 3 weeks? Come back to me when you've been in business 3 years.
Right, brilliant. Finally, Claire, if people would like to find out more about Pets to Places, your services, or even explore the franchise side of things, where's the best place for them to find you, please?
So go onto my website. I have 2 websites. So we've got our pet taxi website for our customers, which is www.petstoplaces.co.uk. And then our franchise site is similar, Pets to Places, franchise.co.uk. I'm really active on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, it's my name, Claire Harris. I'm sure you can put all these links in. Just connect with me, reach out to me. If you want to talk to me about a franchise, then I'm really open to having a chat with anybody.
Those links in the show notes. But Claire Harris from Pets to Places, thank you so much for joining me on the Pet Business Wellbeing Podcast. I've absolutely loved chatting with you today.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks for having me. It's been an absolute blast.
You're most welcome. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Pet Business Wellbeing Podcast with me, Nathan Dunleavy. If you enjoyed today's chat, I'd love it if you could share this with a friend. Subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And please consider leaving me a review, as it really helps me reach more pet professionals who need this kind of support. Until next time, take care of yourself, look after your well-being, and remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about building a business you actually enjoy being in. Before I wrap up today's episode, I just want to share some really exciting news. My new membership for pet professionals and pet business owners is coming soon. The Pet Business Wellbeing Circle Plus is my new community membership, which will give you group mentoring, a community, theme of the month, guest speakers. It's designed to help the person behind the business. We're going to be discussing all things compassion fatigue, overwhelm, imposter syndrome, everything that comes with running a business, but how to look after your own well-being whilst you do it. I'm just putting the final touches behind the scenes, but I'm going to be having a soft launch in June and then my full public launch in July. So it's really exciting. As you can tell, I'm so looking forward to launching it and sharing it all with you. So that's the Pet Business Wellbeing Circle Plus, my new group mentoring membership coming soon for pet professionals and pet business owners with me, Nathan Dunleavy. Bye for now.